Okay, we're live.
All right. Good evening and welcome to the Eureka Springs CAPC meeting for February 22nd, 2023 at 6 p.m. We have a new commissioner, David Avanzino. Is that correct?
Right on.
Yes. Do you have any introductory comments?
Glad to be here. Looking forward to it. I know there's a lot of work ahead, and let's get to it.
All right. Welcome, David. I want to, real quick, just say welcome, everyone, and kind of remind us all of what this commission is for. We're specifically under the law, we have two directives. One is to advertise and promote the city of Eureka Springs, and two is to collect taxes. So if you didn't know that, you are a tax collector. And so we have a duty to perform both of those. Part of the law outlines who is on the commission, typically restaurateurs or hoteliers or at large, and two city council. I think if you kind of look at that, what the intent there is to bring a diverse group of business leaders in the town together to unite. And so you could say that the actual spirit of the CAPC is one of unity. And I'd like to encourage that spirit this year for us and for the town. We are a family and a Eureka Springs family. So with that, let's do roll call. David Avanzino.
Present.
Chris Jones.
Here.
Steve Holyfield.
Here.
And Chris Clifton, myself here. Okay. The first on the agenda is approval of minutes.
Under roll call, you would note who's absent.
Okay. And absent is, thank you. See, that's what I need. Absent is Mark Hicks and Jeff Carter. Thank you, Chair. All right, so next is approval of minutes. Scott had prepared these for us so we could catch up.
You're actually going to be approving 3 sets of minutes. We had 2 special meetings on January 11, 2023, and that's on the first page. The attachment is for the February 8, 2023 meeting. Need a motion to approve?
Motion to approve those minutes.
Actually, we can't approve the January 11th. We don't have a quorum to approve that. There's only 2 people here that were at the meeting. So it takes 4 people to approve it.
We can't approve.
We can't approve February 8th. Well, no, we can't. We can't approve February 8th either. We'll have to table this because we don't have a quorum to approve one of them.
Because
You have to have a quorum, and
I thought we had.
David wasn't there, so he can't vote.
He can't approve it?
He can't vote on 8. Only the meetings you attended can you approve.
Okay. Well, we'll have to table it until the next meeting.
Because what you're doing is actually stating, yes, this is what happened.
Gotcha.
If you weren't there, you can't,
Okay.
you can't do that.
Makes
That's what I
sense.
understand, so.
Thank you. Sure. All right, let's move to public comments. And I'll do a timer.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, my name is Bo Satori. I live at 2 Fairmount. I'd like to welcome the new commissioners and have a few comments. I'm not sure what your holiday lighting clarification is. Most of the time it's been a debate between holiday lights versus Christmas lights. Personally, I prefer to call them winter lights. That sort of eliminates that debate. For those of you who haven't been around that long, the winter lights, like the last few years, are about less than 20% of what we were doing 20 years ago. Your budget needs to be bumped up to about $100,000 in order to start regaining what we had in Eureka Springs as far as architectural lights, pole sculpture, and of course decorating the parks. So I would like you to consider that. Also, you have a vacancy on here, so I think it's important to remind the community that you have a vacancy that expires. The seat expires June of this year, but you need to go ahead and fill it. I've sat here and watched vacancies sit empty for 9-10 months at a time and not even be discussed at the commission, and you have to come up with a nomination to give to the council, so you should be working on that as well. Another thing is I don't know if anyone's in charge of our website at all anymore. I found it terribly embarrassing over the past few years. I checked it just before I came to this meeting, and if you go to eurekasprings.org and you drop down to Eureka Springs webcams and click on that link, it takes you to a porn site, it takes you to Amazon sales of webcams, it takes you to a variety of things that have nothing to do with Eureka Springs. But I found that the porn site was particularly alarming in our menu of items on our website. Another thing is I've followed through different stories that have been linked to Eureka Springs, and you get to one that'll say shopping and galleries in Eureka Springs, or art and galleries, and you click on that and it takes you to national art sites of their marketing, and they teach you how to marketing art, things like that. There's links of sales sites that are being attached to our webpage. Also, when you do go to shops and galleries, which is important, that's the #1 activity of our visitors is shopping, there's a variety of our shops which are here, but there's nothing comprehensive. In fact, a lot of them have gone out of business, some of them have moved locations, but if every year you get a list from City Hall of all of the shops and galleries, the retail of Eureka, then you can go through our webpage and make sure everything has a representation there. And I'd just like, the very least you can do is to scrutinize our website on a regular basis. And as I said, I don't know if anybody's in charge of it anymore. But thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? No other public comments? All right, let's move to financials.
Set before you a packet of information, and if you'll look at Schedule A, it lists the format, and then on Schedule A1 it's a summary of our financial transactions for January 2023. You'll see our cash in bank is $1,779,323.65. Under the Section A, it's comparing budget to actual for January 2023. We show an actual food and beverage collection of $78,778, and we show a lodging collection of $48,722. Both those line items were budgeted at $75,000. So the food and beverage was over by $3,779. The lodging was down $26,276 compared to budget. If you look at total collections, the amount collected total was $127,500 to a budget figure of $150,000. In looking back to try and drive and figure out why we had such a decrease in lodging, in comparing past sales tax collections for January of 2023 to January of 2022, approximately around $7,000 or so of that was decrease in sales tax collections comparing January 2022 to January 2023. There's also about $3,500 or so of late filing that hadn't occurred yet, so that'll account for about $10,000 of that. There is a anomaly decrease in lodging tax collections for this month. I'm still trying to research and find out what that might be but until I finish that, I'm not really able to add more to that comment.
So if I heard you right, we're down, you anticipate we're down about 16,000 to budget?
Yes, 15 to 16.
Once it washes a little. Okay.
This, under historical comparison on Section B, again, you can see the actual numbers for January 2023. And then if you compare to January 2022, you'll see food and beverage is up in comparing those 2 months, $6,539. And again, on the lodging for January 2023, it was $48,722. And comparing to January of 2022, it was $72,268, or $23,546 decrease. If you look at year-to-date collection comparison, it's basically the same as total collections because we're in the first month of the first year, first month of 12. So that's the report on Section A1. If you looked at number A3, which is a collection summary broken down by category, and we'll probably get into some discussion tonight about sales tax forms, and this will probably be enhanced with the new sales tax form that I'm probably going to propose and send the copies to you. So,
And the reason for that?
to get clarification from our businesses that are collecting the taxes for CAPC as to whether, for example, some businesses may have a lodging and may have a restaurant. So now we're going to ask them to clarify how much of the gross sales was for the lodging and how much was for the food. But there's 13 different categories. And on the form I've created, there's 13 different categories for the business collect or to respond to.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I got it and anyone else, but so currently when someone submits that has lodging and restaurant, there's no way to distinguish what that revenue really represents.
Not on our form that we're using now.
It would be helpful to know.
Yep. Under Schedule A4, I added a additional schedule there for you that's in yellow, showing that the interest income was added of $6,605.89. On Schedule A5, you'll see comparison of income statement for January 23 compared to January of 22. On Section D1 is a delinquency report. In Section S1 and S2 are sales tax breakdown by month and for the past 5 years. So you can compare month and year. And that's all I have on this report here for January 2023. Is there any question?
Discussion?
What exactly is a delinquency report? Education.
Those are those taxpayers listed there are those that are more than 45 to 60 days past due on submitting a report or collection of the tax to the office.
So Scott, just, there are 5 listed here. Is it typically around 5 or 10?
When I started, it was 30-something listed, and I've got it down to generally 5 to 6. It'll stay in that category there, and typically it's the same ones.
And every one of these businesses listed have received letters and forms from you requiring payment?
I send at least 2 letters. I try to go visit with them personally, and if I don't get any response and they hold an alcohol license, I contact ABC in Little Rock, and I contact the Arkansas State Sales Tax Department and report it.
Okay, and looking at business number 4 on this list, I'm assuming NSF was a non-sufficient funds check that was written for taxes. And then you have another line that says dated 11/19/22. Was that another check issued that did clear?
No, that's the date of information on the NSF form. That's a note to myself of when that occurred, that event occurred.
What happens if they don't have a liquor license? Like Beam Me Up and,
So we do have
Chemical.
in the ordinance, we have specific steps that are taken.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
And which lead up to a notice of revocation of their permit. And then they can request a hearing from the city council.
That's correct.
Right.
okay, thank you.
And there are also other avenues that can be taken.
It does say that we are able to use whatever methods under the law to collect.
Right.
I did read that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I apologize to David. He had requested to put delinquencies on the agenda, and so somehow when I updated my rough draft, it didn't save. So I've encouraged him to, on number 8, to address that when we get there. Any more discussion, questions? You know, for me, I look at the lodging being down, and that's, you know, you don't want to see anything down. So, now I look back over 19, 20, 21, and it seems like a trend. I'm not quite sure why 2022 was so large. And then I know that's what we budgeted off of, but it was, 2022 was an anomaly compared to the 3 years before, considerably. So, do you have any thoughts?
I went back and checked all my work twice to make sure I had it in the right category, and
Yeah.
it's posted correctly. I went back and I compared the taxpayer receipts for January 23 back to January of 22, and I came up with, I didn't come up with enough to justify the decrease as it is, but we
So-
are, the tendency was we were lower that month than expected.
So when I look at December of 2022 versus December of 2021, there's a large difference in lodging and a difference in food. So is it possible, being that 2021 was much lower than what
You
was
know,
in, so is it
honest-
possible some of December went into
Whenever you end a year.
January last year?
Yes, whenever you end a calendar year and move into a new calendar year, there's always this event that occurs here. It could be, sometimes it's in expenses and payables, sometimes it's in the revenue section. So I account for the difference to be going in from one year to another and the timing of receiving the sales tax returns. That usually is an issue at the close of a year.
So we're going to be optimistic that it'll wash as we go?
Oh,
but
yeah.
We want to watch,
I think so.
we want to watch that closely. Okay.
Scott, I do know that probably one factor that I noticed this year with lodging, hotels, motels, et cetera, was that everyone was drastically reducing their nightly room rates because there just simply were no reservations. So they would drop their nightly room rate, say, from 89 to 49, just to get people in the door.
Good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think that was pretty much citywide.
Just on my own research, I noticed some of that. I know some didn't, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think more did. I would encourage people, so I'd encourage people not to drop rate when they can. I mean, even with, and I understand, but back when we had 9/11, the hotel industry, and veterans probably remember, hotel industry all like killed themselves dropping rate. And you read all kinds of articles about don't ever do that again. And so even with a recessionary, whatever influence going on right now, I would try to hold rate. So for what that's worth. Any other comments? No. Okay.
I move that we accept the financial report for January 2023. Don't we make a motion for that?
Can you repeat that? I can barely hear you.
I make a motion that we accept the financial report for January 2023.
Second.
I have a second motion and a second. The motion was to approve the financials for this last month. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess I need to vote, right?
Yeah.
Aye. Okay.
It's good to state 4-0.
Secretary, for the record.
I'm writing as fast as I can. What? Tell me-
Did you get the motion?
I did. I'm
Okay, the
writing it
wording.
down. Yes.
I always
Yeah.
think about if somebody's just listening to the tape of this, we
Right.
understand what happened.
And the vote,
So motion
let-
to accept financial report.
let
for
the record
January
show the
2023.
vote was 4-0.
Oh, okay. 4-0. But I write down first and seconds, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
We're a motley crew here. Okay. Reports, Scott. So again, I actually was trying to delete that B part before Scott gets started. My draft, like I said, didn't save right. Given as much stuff as we're trying to do tonight in our workshop, I'd really like to do Paradise. So, anyway, Scott, did you have a report?
Keep in mind, I've been on the job 2 weeks today, 14 days, but here's a kind of I've got 19 items I want to just briefly bring you up to date on. We have until the end of the month to renew our alcohol beverage control license, ABC license here at the auditorium, and that will be done, and I'll have my name added as the contact person here of record. Been working closely with Little Wing Productions, which is Larry Schaefer, booking major acts, including local performances. We have Amy Grant coming in April 1st, and I'm attempting to get in touch with her to give her or allow her to tour our town. And like I told Chris, my goal is to get her to change her driver's license city name from Nashville to Eureka Springs. That's my goal. But in all fun, I think she's going to enjoy our town, and I really want to impress upon her that she's very welcome here. Chris and I have been speaking with Paradise. They're implementing the plans that was put before us 2 weeks ago. I monitor that, and we've been in contact with them fairly often on where they're progressing on the spring break, also on the website. As far as the office coordinator position, I have been interviewing people and discussing that position. I have a candidate in mind, and I will probably make an offer to them within the next day or two to fill that position, which is very much needed. We've had air conditioning problems here at the auditorium, working with Ron. We found out that we've got oil in our Freon line, so we're going to have to get that repaired. I'm looking at a cost of estimate of $3,000 to $5,000 on that, but once that's done, we shouldn't have the problems. In other words, I told him, I don't want to see you over here unless we have a problem. So in other words, I don't want you coming over here anymore just to fix something. I want it repaired this time. We've had fire alarm problems. We've got that under control. We've changed some phone numbers to make the system more viable and working within our network. So I'm real happy about that part. I've been going out and meeting with businesses in town, obtaining their feedback, encouraging our commissioners to go out and visit with tax collectors, businesses in town. I think it would be good. And I'm trying to obtain their input and getting their ideas as we move forward. We're going to have a security system installed in the auditorium that was budgeted in 2023. It's a camera system, and we'll have a 30-day backup on it for recordings. That should help us in the case of injury on site. to be able to play back and show what incident really occurred. The books are current. I'm keeping them current. All receipts go to the bank within 2 days usually or less, once received. I've been meeting with the Parks and Recs Commission on the 4th of July celebration and working with them on how we can make it successful, an in-town celebration as well as at Lake Leatherwood. I've met with the Rick Springs Police Department, talked to them about my concerns at the auditorium whenever we have performances and how critical it is for them to be seen and be present. I've been meeting with Miles Crawford, who is our usher provider for us, and I want to talk to him about usher training, and he's welcome. He'd be glad to come over and help us. We've also had commissioner review of the website with Paradise put up last Friday, and everyone participated, had great comments. Our job descriptions for the staff are being updated, and that's going to take place really quick. Also a travel policy to comply with the IRS regulations for the commission. And we're all, most of us are going to be attending the 2023 Arkansas Tourism Conference in El Dorado. I've made really good contacts with the people at the Department of Tourism. Look forward to meeting them and seeing what they can do to help us here in Eureka Springs be successful. Also, we've upgraded our Cox internet here from doubling our speed at less cost than we were paying. I kind of talked to them like we really need to get our speed up for the downloads and uploads that Ron needs, and so they were welcome to help us. And also, we're in the process of reviewing what we're going to be doing for spring in the park at Basin, and we're involved with that. And finally, we're going to be moving from our internet system, which is cPanel, to Microsoft 385, which will be consistent with what the city of Eureka is using. So that's where we're at.
2 weeks?
Do what?
Was that 2 weeks? Was that 2 weeks worth of work?
Yeah.
Okay. Sound like a lot.
Yeah.
Good. We really appreciate you, Scott. We know you're hanging on to the lifeboat right now, and we appreciate you.
I do it because I care about our town and the future, and I love our businesses, and I just really want it to be successful, and I want everybody to enjoy coming to Eureka Springs. That's what my passion is.
Scott, I do have a quick question, and this relates to, I think he's gone, Mr. Satori's comments about eurekasprings.org. This is the first I'm hearing.
That's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, first I've heard it.
So do we know who to contact about that?
That's going
The
to...
old website?
I think that's what he was referring to, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, he's referring to that, but I'm saying, who's the contact? I'm echoing you, I'm sorry. Who's the old website?
I'm going to look into that. I made a
Content.
note of that myself.
So, and that's on our agenda to jump into if you guys so choose.
That's my comments, and we're going to address what that concern is and also his tonight.
Okay.
Those.
So I'm going to strike the Chris Annual Paradise part, and we'll move that to the strategic, or to the workshop. And we're probably going to have to move a couple things, but that way we have more time. I haven't even had the time to review that thoroughly, but we'll probably invite them to present that since it's over the whole year and stuff.
Can I...
From last year.
Did every commissioner view the website that was presented by Paradise?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, because I don't know if it can be handled here, but I have a lot of concern with what they presented, and it is not efficient. It is not...
We'll get there. Okay. Okay. So under old business, we may have to table some of this because we don't have a quorum on things that were old business now that I've been educated. But so with the bylaws, I need some guidance as the chair. This commission sets its own rules. I loosely know what precedent was. I've heard different stories of what just kind of policy and procedures and things, I've heard different things. And so, and I assume over the last couple of decades, things have changed. Different commissions have changed different things. What I was reading is we're supposed to have a posted bylaw, set of rules and stuff for, but anyway, so that's probably more than what we want to try to tackle, and especially with absences. So we can table that for a workshop and where we can have lots of discussion. And
Is there a set of bylaws already?
there's ordinances. I haven't found.
Scott?
I went back and read the past 12 years of minutes, and there's some information in there that was voted on by prior commissions that may not be relevant now, but need to be addressed, particularly in collections. I think it was in September 2012, if my memory's right. The commission voted to, if you had a delinquent taxpayer that they were delinquent more than 45 days, the commission was to proceed with going to the court and issuing action to that method. And
So
also posting the taxpayer's business name in the newspaper.
So we can probably address a couple of things, like, I know you want to get to delinquencies, but I really think we need to do a workshop where we try to figure out what's what, and then set and adhere to a set of rules. It seems like there's too many gray areas and not really knowing what's what. So I'll put that on the strategic workshop, or I keep calling it strategic, on the workshop. Holiday lighting clarification, we'll have to table that. So what happened was there was a motion when Terry McClung was on here in Autumn, and a motion to move $12,500. The motion didn't specify the amount of money, and so Scott hasn't been able to write a check. So we have a problem there where we need a motion to specify the amount of money to amend that motion or whatever, but were you there? I think we're the only two. Yeah.
January?
So Jeff would and Mark would, so we need those two to do it, right?
Well, if you make a new motion, anybody can.
Okay,
All of us can
so
vote on it.
that's the scenario. And
I
so,
was here watching it. I wasn't a member yet.
huh?
I was here watching the meeting.
Okay.
So, but did someone propose a certain set of lights to buy or something, wasn't there? That amount came up because someone proposed to buy a certain.
There was discussion about the lights. There was a worksheet given, and they were going to buy them at Home Depot and around,
Right.
and
It wasn't
everybody
just a number, it was an actual purchase of something.
The motion was to support the lighting, and that was,
I think when you look
it
at
wasn't a
the
dollar amount.
when you look at the meeting, wasn't the discussion like 12.5? Yeah, I think there was. It just wasn't included in the motion.
Okay.
So we need to clarify that.
That's true.
So I'd entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we allocate $12,500 to a holiday lighting.
Second.
The motion is to allocate 12.5 for holiday lighting. Scott, is that correct?
And the
Okay.
amount, be sure the amount's in it.
Okay, and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. For the record, Jeff Carter and Mark Hicks were absent. The motion carried 4-0.
Thank you.
And also, sometimes for clarification, you might want to mention the name who made the motion, who seconded it.
Okay, for the name. Okay. Thank you. Hiring committee clarification. I didn't really know how to squeeze this in, except I don't know who the chair of the committee is because we didn't put it in the motion. It's not in the motion.
I remember you
I
were
looked
the
at
chair.
it today.
I think you were
Okay,
in
so
charge of it, so.
since you're a commissioner, I'm commissioner, I didn't want to call a meeting just for us to discuss that. That's why that's on there.
Okay.
Okay. Also, Lynn Berry has agreed to be a part of the committee, if you're okay with that. I've asked a gentleman I know that he's retired. His name is Jim McDonald. He's a resident of Berry County, down by the White River. But Jim retired from a career with IBM and ran teams for years, hiring and firing, and might be a good outside perspective, but a good piece in that interviewing. Ultimately, my thought was to avoid a bad hire and looking, for a little different perspective, so, okay.
Yeah, Chris, my question with that committee, are there tools in place to verify education, verify past work experience, references, criminal background checks?
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. So we've got staffing and job descriptions down below, so we'll get into some of that. But just from an informational point, we met with city HR. We have real challenge, so we can't even post some of these positions because we don't have the right job descriptions. So we've been working on those with his guidance, and that's on the agenda.
Okay.
So for the process, and we might as well just talk executive session too, because it ties together. But the process is we can't do a background check until we make an offer. So the offer is contingent upon the background check.
Right.
But so that's been messed up in the past, evidently. We have to be really careful protecting confidentiality through the interview process. And so, like Scott, did the right thing and mentioned a candidate. He has a candidate. And so then maybe we get to where we're candidate A, B, those type of things. But executive session is necessary, and I would, just encourage the public to know that we have a duty to protect people's privacy. And so we have to go into executive session for personnel matters. And so the same thing, if our committee meets, we'll probably have to go into executive session because we can't discuss things publicly because then you're not protecting people's privacy. But it's only employment type things. We can't vote in executive session. So there was some confusion or questioning of our executive session from the last meeting, and so that was double checked with the Municipal League. We announced we were going into executive session, and then we came back out and we voted publicly, and there was never any vote in executive session or anything like that. So when you start reading like Robert's Rules of Orders, or even if you get into, I've got a copy of it, the Arkansas FOIA policy, it doesn't give you a clear, like, you have to do it this way as far as like voting to go in or out or any of that. It's you announce, you go in, you come back out, and it's really pretty straightforward. So we want to be transparent, but we do have some legal requirements there. Did I answer your? Okay. Any questions on those? We can move on. So, like I said, so number 8, if you'd like to add something to the agenda.
Yeah, I do want to add to the agenda under new business how we're going to handle delinquent taxpayers.
Okay.
There are several ways around this under the A&P law. We've got that.
So can we do the motion?
Oh,
and then the
sorry.
second, and then you
Yes.
can start discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to.
I need my practice.
Oh, sorry. I'd like to make a motion that we discuss delinquent tax collections.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from David Avanzino to discuss tax delinquency collections. delinquencies of tax collections. And I have a second from Steve Holyfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Of course, Jeff Carter and Mark Hicks are absent, and the rest voted 4-0. Go ahead, David.
So some of the things that we have, of course, we have the A&P law that says what we can do. We also have the ability through the city to do things and through city council. And quite frankly, looking at this delinquency report, there are businesses on here that haven't paid a single dime in, it looks like, over 2 years. Is that right, Scott? Looking at,
Well, let me clarify something here.
I see one for at least a full year and a month.
Business number 1
Yes.
fits into the category you just classified them in as delinquent. In other words, they've been warned, letters, and there's still no reach out to pay or get current on their bills. Okay?
Is this the same with number 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Number 2 is a failure to just comply and pay and file a sales tax report. I have sent letters, no response. So this is just a failure to file a monthly sales tax report. Number 2.
So
And they're still in
Number 3.
business?
are they paying the tax, just not reporting?
They're
form?
not doing neither one.
They're not doing either.
Not doing anything.
And they're in business, Chris says? They're in
Yes,
business?
as far as I know, they are. Okay, on number 3, that's an unusual circumstance. I went out and visited with the owners, and they told me that the city clerk told them that they didn't have to collect the tax because they did not classify within that category. And when I went out there and talked to them, I gave them a copy of the ordinance, and it specifically says that they're to collect the tax. And so I talked to the city clerk, and she admitted she talked to them, told them they did not have to pay the tax.
You're talking about the past city clerk?
Past city clerk.
Okay.
And so I contacted our A&P attorney, and the commission has the authority to work out a payment plan of back taxes. You can't forgive the tax. You can forgive the penalty and interest or negotiate with that, but you can't forgive the tax. So after a couple of months, I finally got information and a contract back from our attorney that addresses that problem on number 3, and it's a matter of going and having those people come here and ask for working with them on the contract of repayment. That's where we're at on that one. But since that notice, they've been filing currently. So,
Okay.
So they're trying to, once they realized they were out of compliance, they quickly started filing on a regular basis.
Okay, good.
Yep.
But they just owe for the previous year?
For that, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's fairness to number 3. Number 4, that's a delinquent check that was given to me, and that party's been notified twice, and I've been told they'll issue another payment, have it to me, and they're still on this list. Number 5, you can read what the situation is there.
Okay. So I guess my question is, and I also invited our current city clerk here to clarify any questions that anybody may have, but we have other options. We can take away their city liquor tax if they're a bar and restaurant for failure to pay their taxes.
The permit?
Yes, because the
City
city,
liquor.
you have one from the state and you have one from the city.
Okay.
It would be easier to go through the city because the state, we only have one agent that covers our area, and he's not only our area, he has a very wide area in the state. We can revoke or suspend that city liquor license. We can,
But, I mean, I think just to clarify, I think we can recommend, right? I don't know that we can do that. I thought we had to send it to city council.
I think, there she is. Here's Ida, our current city clerk.
So you'll need to check with legal on the details. I just went off of ordinances and code, so I highly suggest getting with Forest and the Municipal League on this. But as far as I can see, if they're delinquent for more than 3 months, you can see that in Section 7 of code, and that's going to be 7.08.25. You can look in that section of code. If they're delinquent for more than 3 months, it does state that on any taxes, licenses, fees, anything like that, it does say that we have the authority to revoke their license. So that would require written, and it needs to be certified mail to the business telling them that their permits are at risk. And then I would need written notification, of course, once you have the advice of legal. I'd need written notification of that, and then I could send out a letter saying it's being revoked. If they don't, call the ABC agent, let them know they're operating without a city liquor permit.
I was reading through some of that today, and I remember reading, I was surprised that we can't just pull a CAPC permit, that we have to send a notice. We have to vote on it, but we send a notice to revoke it, and then city council votes on that.
Correct.
And so it should be the same. It sounds like same with the liquor permit.
Actually, I don't think.
Because we don't have any authority over it.
Yeah, I think as long as
We recommend.
we follow the parameters under municipal code for the city liquor tax, that we're good to go.
Yeah, I just need to know that there's clear communication between the offices. So I need written notice when they're delinquent saying, I've consulted legal, these are the business or businesses that need their permit or license revoked if it's business license. And then I would send out the notice. And then I need written notice when they are caught up and they are legally allowed to reobtain that license or permit. I just want a clear paper trail.
So, agreed. And I think right now, the only person for you to communicate with is Scott.
Okay.
So I think between the two of you to come up with that line of communication, however you want to handle it, I think is the best way to do this. That way it's just from point A to point B and not everybody else involved.
Yeah, my office hours, I'm there Monday through Friday. I also have my cell phone hooked up to my office phone, so if you call my office number, it rings to my cell phone. And then my email's always open if you guys have any questions or need any help.
Okay, thank you, Ida.
I have a question for you, Ida.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea why your predecessor told number 3 they wouldn't have to pay tax?
She doesn't know who number 3 is.
Yeah, I have no idea. If there's any question on whether they pay CAPC taxes, I just tell them to go to CAPC. That's not my point of expertise. If they come to apply for a tourist lodging license or a restaurant license, I give them that permit form and I put it in the CAPC mailbox and let them know that they need to coordinate with CAPC on those taxes.
Okay. Thank you.
So it sounds like we need to wait to hear from legal.
I would contact legal. That's just kind of what I typed up, scenarios.
Right.
But yeah, before
Okay.
we would take any action, I
Okay.
would check with legal, make sure that, just like AMP revocation of that permit, that you don't need to go to city council.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just suggest that we know what we can do under the AMP law. and we just need clarification on what we can do under city municipal codes.
Our attorney for the AMP is well aware of what we just talked about, and he's ready to talk to Mr. Jacoby.
Okay, good.
We're just so I'll notify Bill tomorrow.
So are we good with Scott following up on this? And next
Yeah, absolutely.
meeting, we can address it.
I mean, I just, honestly, I don't think it's fair to the rest of the stakeholders, the tax collectors, to pay on time and pay all the money, and these people just choose not to do it and disobey the law.
Now, some of these don't have, or do they all have liquor license here? I mean, sometimes we're just going to have lodging.
1, 2,
First one does not.
Yeah.
first one does not. I don't know about the second one.
I don't know.
3 does not, but 4 and 5 definitely do.
Yeah. Good.
And if you revoke a license, they can't operate,
That is correct.
and they can be in trouble if they don't.
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? And doesn't sound like we have a motion to do anything. We're just going to let Scott pursue them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have 4 funding requests on the table, and appreciate the patience of those who are here for that. I should have bumped you up a little bit more. I apologize.
All right, we
Who do you
have
got
4
first?
funding requests. The first one is Opera in the Ozarks. This is, I know, the second year of a request. They're requesting $7,500, but we can only maximum support it at $5,000.
Okay. And I think Chris is here.
There he is.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Chris.
Go ahead and state your name.
Yeah, my name is Chris Cathcart. I'm the Operations Director for Opera in the Ozarks. So just want to thank you for hearing me tonight. First off, thank you for funding us for the first time last year. Your $5,000 maximum grant was greatly appreciated and covered about 8% of our $65,000 annual advertising budget. You'll find rack cards for this June and July season with a calendar on the back. I think you have them on your table there. These rack cards are distributed at visitor centers all over Arkansas. There's a recent ad in the Arkansas Magazine that goes out statewide for you to view, and we print 300 posters that are hung all over northwest Arkansas. In addition to hiring a rack card distributor who services all the visitor centers and a district that reaches from Fort Smith to the Missouri border, rack cards and posters are distributed locally by our network of volunteers from the Eureka Springs Opera Guild around the middle of March when our tickets go on sale to donors. And tickets go on sale to the public around the 1st of April. As you generously increase your grant maximum, we humbly ask for advertising support. Originally, I guess this was supposed to be for $7,500, but it sounds like we can only request $5,000 now. Towards our $65,000 annual advertising budget. This would help us immensely, covering 12% of our annual advertising budget. Opera in the Ozarks has already put $110,000 into local lodging, as our new faculty housing is running behind schedule. So we need to go into the community to get housing for our staff for our summer season. During June and July, we have approximately 100 artists and staff who enjoy frequenting the shops, restaurants, and bars in Eureka Springs. Additionally, a significant percentage of our audience members stay in local lodgings for multiple nights and enjoy the town's amenities. We are happy to have added to the Eureka Springs economy for so many decades, and we are very grateful for all the local support and attendance we receive. Our strategic plan is to grow from a 2-month to a 10-month operation as a center for lifelong learning in music and allied arts. Our economic impact will grow exponentially from our extended season. We will be programming many of the events ourselves, but we'll also have rental opportunities. As an example, we're adding a retreat for veterans this summer in which they'll explore creative arts experiences, including music, drama, and art. As part of this expansion in programming, we're also working on renewing our 49-acre campus and its obsolete facilities. So watch out for our upcoming press release about that. Thank you for considering this grant for our 2023 season. We hope to see you at the Opera this summer.
Thank you, Chris.
Anybody have any questions or?
You said you distribute these to all state welcoming centers? Is that what you were indicating? The
Yeah,
rack cards?
for our brochures,
For the rack cards?
I mean, for the rack cards, yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah, they're all over, yeah.
So it says total, number of total attendees anticipated 5,250, and then number of total lodging places the last couple of years. So that 250, is that kind of what you, how do you guys know what's?
I was told there was not going to be any math involved. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just curious, seems like maybe there's more than that, but I don't know. You get a lot of, you think,
The 250 is, I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me there.
okay.
For,
So we're saying like 5,000 people attend.
sure,
And I'm just, so that's, regardless, that's probably really good for the restaurants, I would think.
right.
There's only one restaurant out there, I think. So I would assume most people come into town. And then I was just wondering where that 250 number comes from the 5,000.
I think that's probably pretty conservative, but I think Carol, our development director, I don't think wanted to overstate.
Sure.
But I think that is probably, as our facilities get, we're doing some construction right now in our facilities, and as we turn into more of a year-round property and our programs are more year-round, the good thing is that it's much, with the new things we're putting in, there'll be a lot more visitation, especially from Bentonville, Fayetteville area. We anticipate that we'll be more of really a destination when we can kind of provide a product that those markets will enjoy more than we have them at right now, mostly because of, just our old facilities out there, and hopefully, we'll be updating those. So I think those numbers will definitely increase as years go on, and it'll be something that we'll probably track a lot more also, just kind of knowing where we're sitting in that.
So my understanding, you're building a new facility, correct?
Right, so the first phase will be our staff housing. So we have actually gone through demolition for that, and we'll start construction in the next couple of days.
So what's your plan for when you start the media piece or whatever, the advertising for all that? You're not even,
I
you're grinning at me.
I kind of don't want to tell any tales out of class, so
Okay.
Just suffice it to say that we are planning on expanding our facilities, building bigger and better, and the hope is that that'll be done by 2024.
Okay.
Chris,
Sorry.
I have a question for Chris as well. Under the number of total lodging place nights in the past 2 years, regardless of what the numbers are, these are for your performers and staff, correct?
Some of them are.
Are these hotels that you're
but-
putting them in?
Right. No, a small percentage of that is, but I think she's also adding in just people that we know are coming, staying nights, those kind of room nights that we're adding into our guests. But some of that is our staff. Sometimes our facilities, we just have more staff than we have facilities for when we have shorter term, not people who stay the whole summer, but where we put them in lodging for a week or 2 weeks or something to do like master classes and things like that.
Right. And are you being, not that this is a part of the contract or anything like that, but are you being fair and equitable to everyone
Right. So we
where
do.
you put people up?
Right, so we do
Okay.
actually go out and, we don't put out like an official RFP or anything like that, but
Right.
we do go out and, just kind of see what's happening in the market and call different places.
Okay.
And, yeah,
Good,
it's
thank
not,
you.
for what we do out there, sometimes it's important for them to be closer than further away.
Right.
But we absolutely just look for people from all over Eureka and just see what's going to work best for us.
Okay, good,
So-
thank you.
So I got a question too. What's a way that you can direct your guests to the lodging options? for
Well,
your-
we do have in our programs, our marketing company puts together a really beautiful program. Anybody who comes to the opera gets this program. There's a lot of local advertising in it. We're really glad that we're supported so much by the lodging industry and restaurants. There's a lot of advertising in there, and that's one way that people who come look and see, oh, there's all these opportunities in here to stay and places to stay. We haven't yet partnered yet with lodgings as far as like maybe going onto our website. Some of that also is, we got to be careful because we're a 501(c), what kind of things we can do with that. But I think the biggest encouragement is just, the advertising that we have that we give to all of our audience members who come every night.
So if, hypothetical, if the commission chose to do this, is it possible to get a eurekasprings.org lodging link on there and/or restaurants?
Just not the current link, please.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't have the answer to that right now. Obviously, personally, of course, but I need to just make sure that that fits things going on. We do have links on our website to, I believe we do have a link to, and I'd have to double check, but I think there's a place that we have a section of like places to stay, and I don't think it links to specific hotel and lodging, but I think it does link to Eureka Springs, either Chamber of Commerce or some other website that is there. But I'll double check that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I move that we accept the funding request for the Opera of the Ozarks for $5,000.
Second.
Steve Holyfield's made a motion to accept the Opera in the Ozarks $5,000 request, and David Avanzino has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jeff Carter and Mark Hicks are absent, and it passed 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Our next funding request is from Springtime in the Ozarks. Jason Chandler. Hey, Jason. They're requesting $3,000 in funding.
Jason from Rogers, Arkansas. I am the Springtime in the Ozarks chair. This has been a 5-year commitment, and this is my final year. It's been a great journey. Eureka Springs has been wonderful. This is our 46th year. In 1975, I got a 3-minute, should answer most of your questions. In 1975, Jody E. had the thought to have an event where AA members and their families could gather for a weekend of fellowship, speakers, food, and games, and step away from the pressures of everyday life. The phrase they used then was recharge your batteries. At this time, the Inn of the Ozarks was approached about using their convention center, which was nearing completion. Jody E., which was from here in Eureka Springs, her husband Keith, Dick M., and Harlan P. represented the first Springtime in the Ozarks committee. Their flyer was hand-drawn in the beautiful dogwoods that draped the Eureka Springs landscape in the spring. So in 1977, Springtime in the Ozarks was born. Word had gotten out that a bunch of drunks were coming to Eureka Springs, so the sheriff's department called every available officer to set up roadblocks and were prepared as possible for this onslaught. No one informed them that it was a bunch of recovering drunks, and that no one disorderly, unruly, or rowdy event was reported the entire weekend. This event has now grown to the point where we have 10 speakers coming from this year Ontario, Canada, Miami, Florida, Long Island, New York, California, and special workshop and speakers from our own backyard here in Northwest Arkansas. This event has grown from 6 speakers to 10, plus the special workshops that required us to expand utilizing the city auditorium on Friday and Saturday nights. Attendance of the 4-day weekend has grown from an estimated attendance of 600 at the first one to an average of 1,976 in attendance since 2000. The largest Springtime in the Ozarks was in 2013 with 2,325 registered. Outside the convention, speakers also have an ice cream social, dancing, bingo on Friday and Saturday night. And the other members rendezvous here also engage in other activities such as golf tournaments, poker runs, etc. So needless to say, we spend a lot of time eating, fellowshipping, and lodging here in Eureka Springs. We've requested $3,000 to support our only means of advertising, which is through our flyers mailed to past attendees and directing AA members and groups across Arkansas and many other states, as well as the AA publication that comes out quarterly, to go to our website, springtimeintheozarks.com, where we have links to, I don't know if I should say this, but it's the truth, EurekaSpringsChamber.com, EurekaSprings.org, EurekaTrolley.org, Eureka Springs Parks and Trails, and a link to the parking map of Eureka Springs. This is our 46th year.
So Jason, what did you spend last year in advertising?
I think our request, I think you helped us pay for $2,373 last year, roughly.
So your, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't see a spot on here that says amount of advertising, like total cost of advertising? I guess what I'm asking is, why are you only asking for 3 when you can ask for 5 if you need it?
Because we're very prudent.
Very good answer.
On page 3.
We are not like a normal organization either. We don't reach out and use advertisement, TV, publications, news ads, newspapers, because we're, Alcoholics Anonymous. So it's a really simple method of how we reach out to each other across the U.S.
Okay.
On page 3, there's a great breakdown of
There we go.
the cost and stuff.
So
We have asked ourselves many times why we don't ask for 5, but we don't.
number of total lodging, says 2019 all, 2020 all. So I'm assuming you're saying the whole 1,900 stay? Is that what you're saying, all attendees?
Yes, all attendees, well, no, that's not true. Not all attendees necessarily stay in lodging, but we get every year complaints that every hotel is full that weekend. We have people coming
I
from
can verify
Oklahoma
that.
have to go to Rogers.
Well, thank you for having us in April. I can say that. 'Cause
Yeah.
we need
And I can
that.
verify that they do fill up lodging.
Yep, that's good. Any other questions?
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the $3,000 for Springtime in the Ozarks.
Second.
I have a motion from David Avanzino to approve $3,000 for Springtime in the Ozarks, and a second from Steve Holyfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jeff Carter, Mark Hicks absent, and it passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have a marketing request from the Basin Park Hotel, Mr. Jack Moyer. They're requesting $5,000. They're reviving the Blues Fest or Blues Rack. I'll let you talk about it, Jack.
All right.
I
Thanks,
can't read your writing.
Oh, my gosh, really? Thank you. I'm Jack Moyer, General Manager of the Basin Park Hotel. I want to introduce to you Mary Howes. Mary is the producer of the Ozark Mountain Music Festival and will be producing this year's Eureka Springs Blues Party. The Blues Party will be updated to be an event that blends together blues, rock, and funk music. So we're pretty excited about it. For those of us who remember the Blues Fest, big weekend, big event. But one of the reasons that we're interested in bringing it back and partnering with Little Wing Productions, so Larry and Little Wing, we've been working on this for maybe 6 months, 8 months. That's why you have Ray Wiley Hubbard coming to the auditorium. And help me, and Marcia Ball, sorry. Ray Wiley Hubbard and Marcia Ball will be the headliners of the blues aspect. We then will blend in rock, and we'll blend in funk, and it will be primarily in the downtown area. After our request is heard tonight, we'll reach out to partner organizations. We have talked to Grotto Upstairs and Chelsea's. We'll reach out to Eureka Live. We'll reach out to Wanderoo, and we'll reach out to, help me, Legends. And I might as well just let Mary do this conversation. She loves public speaking, so maybe we'll do that anyways, but question and answer. But and then, so the next phase, we have the headliners secured. We'll build the clubs, and we'll blend the festival and event, and bring back what some will still call the Blues Festival, but we will call it as the Eureka Springs Blues Party, a blues, rock, and funk festival. It'll return to the traditional date. The traditional date is always begins the Thursday after Memorial Day, which for those of us in the lodging business, you always know that the week after a holiday is a little bit of a drag. So that's why those primary festivals in Eureka Springs were always placed one weekend after the primary holiday. So we're happy to bring it back. We will produce the event. Larry will produce the events here in the auditorium, and then the individual clubs will produce their own music. Hopefully we can blend a calendar that all works together, and the Basin Park and its marketing team will drive the team, the collaboration, and all the promotion. So we're here asking for $5,000. We're sort of expecting to lose about double that in the first year. Mary tells me it takes 7 years to make money on a festival, and that has been our experience. So, but we feel pretty good about it. And I think the main thing that drove us is live music drives occupancy. And live music is a brand of Eureka Springs. And the leader of the pack out of that has always been the Blues Festival. So it's time we bring that back, and that we bring downtown live music partners together to make that happen. So here we are, requesting funds to help support that.
Mr. Jack, on June the 2nd and June the 3rd at 2 p.m., you've got Basin Park Band Shell / city requests. What does that mean?
Well, we hope that you guys will help and program the band shell. Not a part of this request. That's obviously a tentative, but one of the things that we hope to ask the commission and staff is to program along the genre, whether it's blues, rock, or folk. And in doing so, we'll put you through in the promotion of the event. But obviously, the band shell is key to setting the atmosphere that we hope to accomplish.
Okay.
Do you have questions for Mary?
I do. Mary?
Excellent, thank you.
Let me look on June.
Give Jack a break.
Thank you.
So Mary, under the flyer that you gave us, it says Eureka Springs Blues Party. Underneath, I'm looking, I guess the 1, 2, 3rd, 4th paragraph, BPH Little Wing will extend the festival outreach by asking downtown businesses to consider. And then it goes on to say, if your restaurant or bar is in the downtown district and you are open to programming live music consistent with the festival genre, we'll be happy to add you to our schedule and promote your event. I guess my question is there a reason that you're focusing on downtown?
I think Jack kind of answered that when he just said creating that vibe. But I will say that we met today and talked again and expanded that, what we want to do. And put
Can you speak up just a little?
Yeah, sorry.
No worries. No worries. It happens all the time.
We met today again and re-talked it and actually added not all of, but uptown partners as well to our list of people that we would reach out to. So we would edit that. It wouldn't be all downtown.
Okay.
Why not? Why not go wider?
Does a venue have to charge for this event?
No, that it's a venue's choice, whatever they want to do.
Okay.
Yeah. It's up to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Mr. Jack, is your goal to, I know your passion for blues, just like mine, and I know we both want it to become return to a citywide 4-day, 5-day, 1-week festival. Is your vision to start the process, and if we can start working together to make it a citywide event as it once was, is that what you're trying to step forward now and do with this?
Well, I think,
Does that make-
I think signature event is maybe a better way to put that. You know, there's no desire on my part. I'm much older than I was 26 years ago. And I don't think there's a desire to return to the citywide, streets closed blues event. I don't think we're going there. I'm certainly not leading our organizations back to that direction. But I am looking for a signature event that people identify Eureka Springs with live music. And I think that has a wide-reaching benefit for marketing, positioning, just the word of mouth. I mean, you know, I talked about that the last time I was here. None of us have enough money to market this town. I mean, you have to be reasonable here. We're spending the same amount of money that a car dealership spends. Okay, so we have to live on word of mouth. And you guys, I'll join you guys at the governor's conference, and here's what you're going to hear. It drives them a little crazy, like our little dot, Eureka Springs, when they do their public surveys. They get their surveys, they get people from out of town, and they say, what do you know about your Arkansas? And they say, well, we know about Hot Springs, and we know about Eureka Springs, and that's all built on visitation, PR, and word of mouth. And events such as the Blues Fest, and specifically what this year will be called the Eureka Springs Blues Party, are key components to that foundation of successful marketing. And word of mouth is what wins. And creating awesome experiences when people visit us is the basis of that word of mouth. So that's what we're trying to do here.
I just want to be careful that we manage the opportunity to help fund this, but I don't want it to appear that we're only funding your group of hotels. That's my only concern. I know you don't want that either, but that's what I'm looking, so that the public knows that this is to celebrate.
I think you guys should know. I've said it maybe 1,000 times. I don't come here for specific requests for my properties. And if you hear that I did, somebody did not tell you the truth. You have my number, just pick up the phone and call me. We are looking for a partnership and a collaboration of a group of businesses who are willing to celebrate either blues, rock, or funk festival and join us together.
Okay.
I think the couple of the points tie together well with us. I don't see that that it's just your hotels. This truly looks like a citywide event. I think the dates are really good, like you mentioned. I think that's big. And we already do Basin Park weekend music things. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer to me, but the commission, will of the commission, I just point out a couple of those things.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea, Jack.
Thank you.
And as long as it's open up to the entire city.
Absolutely.
Not just
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think I like what you had to say about your signature events and not trying to block off city streets and stuff, because over tourism, we've heard, residents struggle with that. And then if the town's packed, there's plenty of business for everyone and for the different venues.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would think. So.
Absolutely. And I have about 466 in my database that I'm willing to share with you.
Great.
Musicians.
Great. Share those with Mary. I appreciate you guys.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion? If so.
I move we accept the fund request in the Basin Park Hotel for $5,000.
Second.
We have a motion from Steve Holyfield for the Basin Park Hotel to fund $5,000, and a second from David Avanzino. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Noted Jeff Carter and Mark Hicks absent. Passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll drop the lineup March 2nd is where we're going to start
Great.
putting it up.
Thanks,
March
Jack.
6th. March 6th. Thank you.
Thank you.
The fourth request is from 3B Off-Road. They're requesting $5,000. This is a second year of the request. It was funded last year for the same amount. Ms. Trish?
Good evening, everyone. Trish from 3B Off-Road. I'm owner-operator. May 19th through 21st, we will be celebrating our 5th annual Jeep Fest in conjunction with the worldwide celebration Jeep Go Topless Day partnership we have with Extreme Terrain. And just for clarification, it is Jeeps Go Topless, not people go topless.
Thank you.
Some of the activities include obstacle course competitions, kids obstacle course, chili cook-off, downtown parade, car show, poker run, trail riding, vendors, food, live music, and of course shopping in town. The event registration schedule, vendor profiles, and networking are all available on our ROVA event app. This allows us the ability to capture detailed analytics on our attendees. Additional information regarding the event can also be found on our Eureka Springs Jeep Fest Facebook page. This year's annual charity is TrailAhead.org, and we will also be providing education and awareness on suicide prevention. TrailAhead.org is a 501c3 serving Eureka Springs and the immediate Northwest Arkansas area. The organization is working with the University of Arkansas GROP program on a growth expansion plan, and the success of Jeep Fest will play a vital role. The program teaches underserved kids how to ride dirt bikes and UTVs, the importance of rider safety, trail conditions, and how to maintenance the machines. Riding outdoors with natural sceneries help children feel relaxed, confident, and also helps them build self-respect. This is our second year requesting marketing support. Last year's event was a success in fundraising for the Trail Ahead charity. Kids that have gone through the program have increased their friend network, experienced higher GPA scores, more confident, and have shown an increase of physical activities and interest. I would like to quickly just share a few quotes from some of the students that went through the program. Michael, which is 15, from Eureka Springs, said, quote, "I've learned how to operate a number of off-road vehicles and be respectful of other riders when on the trails. I've learned that when you follow the rules and respect the park, you can have an awesome time," end quote. Emily from Springdale, she's 8, quote, "In the Trailhead program, I have learned how to manually shift an automatic four-wheeler, so if it won't start, I can put it into neutral and rock it to start it. I have also learned how to talk better to people, understand the different types of ATVs, and how to properly put on a helmet," end quote. Lastly, quote, "Hi, my name is Jessie from Eureka Springs. I have learned many things at 3B Off-Road and several skills from learning how to ride and even diagnosing the machines and repairs. Trailhead provides opportunities for kids and teenagers like me to learn about off-roading, meet new friends, and just have a blast," end quote. 3B Off-Road believes in giving back to our community, and we are very proud to be affiliated with our local charities. We ask for your support for funding to include digital, radio, and billboard advertising. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, Trish, the nonprofit Trail Ahead,
Yes, sir.
do they have a website?
Not
I
yet.
can't find
The
it.
organization just started up last year. February 10th of '22. And so last year's Jeep Fest was the first big fundraiser for the organization. So the organization is new. Essentially, it started out with a bunch of our volunteers sitting around and saying, hey, we've been working so much on our property, expanding, improving, growing. We've only owned the property 4 years. So we've done a lot in that time frame. But for Michael and I, one thing we were missing was kind of our purpose. And so a bunch of volunteers got together and formulated a board of members and decided to go after this and help our children here locally in the community.
So you two started the nonprofit? Do you sit on the board of the nonprofit?
We sit on the board.
I don't know if that's a conflict of interest or... Don't get me wrong, I applaud what you guys are doing. And
the organization is a 501c3, and so, I mean, it follows every law, every,
Do you get any compensation from the charity?
No, we do not. In fact, even at 3B Off-Road, since we have started the business there, we don't pay ourselves. We put it right back into the park. So same with Trailhead, no one gets paid.
Okay. That was a better question. Thank you.
It is just trying to help our community.
Yeah. I'm glad it's based here.
Yes, sir.
Good job.
So how do you pick your dates? Just curious. May 19th.
Well, historically, we generally held Jeep Fest in May. Last year, we were asked to move it because it conflicted with another something happening here in town. And so we accommodated that change. It was extremely hot, though. We had, these 500, 600 Jeeps out there, and it was hot out there on the obstacle course and outdoors the entire time. So we decided to take it back to May, but also the dates were determined based on our partnership with Extreme Terrain and the worldwide Go Topless Jeep celebration. It is held on May the 20th this year, and that's why we decided to go with that date.
I like thinking of your event's huge. I mean, to me, if you put, you anticipate 800 to 1,200 people, I'd be surprised if it's that little. Because it just seems like they're everywhere when you're here.
Yes.
I think it's cool personally, but.
Oh, thank you. We were trying to be conservative with that, with those numbers. But given that, the event itself is going to be wrapped up in some worldwide marketing, we are listed as a host on the Extreme Terrain Go Topless Day site.
So part of what I was getting at from my view would be when I asked about the weekends is just if y'all can, we want to encourage when it's softer weekend, and so May's actually not a giant month or anything, so.
Yeah.
But do you follow where I'm going with that?
I do, yes. Yeah. We also, whenever we plan events, we look at the calendars to try to make sure that we're not overlapping or conflicting with anything else. Yeah. Yeah, right.
I'm not quite sure how to say this, so I'm just going to say it. Should this request come from the nonprofit or from the business?
I don't, well, who's writing who would we be writing the check to? I think's the question.
3B Off-Road manages everything.
You pay all the expenses?
We pay all of the expenses. In fact, last year we spent around 10 to 13-ish thousand dollars on marketing, so the 5,000, definitely was a huge help. But 3B pays for all of the overhead and everything, marketing materials, the giveaways. We work on all those sponsorships and trying to obtain as many, giveaways and prizes as possible without any funding. But,
I think if the check, if they're writing checks from 3B, then
Yeah.
I think, yeah,
Last year, we wrote a check to 3B.
okay.
yes, I don't feel that it's any
As
different.
long as you
than-
can show receipts that you paid that. then-
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the $5,000 request for 3B off-road.
You have a second?
Second.
We have a motion from David Avanzino to approve 3B off-road's funding request for $5,000, and Steve Holyfield second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And noted Jeff Carter and Mark Hicks are absent. It passed 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Does anyone need to take a break, bathroom break? We're gonna try to motor through?
Keep motoring.
Okay. Meeting logistics. If someone would be so inclined to, the topic is regarding meeting time, place, those things, if we want to have discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to discuss meeting logistics.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion to discuss our meeting logistics from David Avanzino, and a second from Chris Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jeff Carter, Mark Hicks absent, pass 4-0. If that's okay, I'll wait. So I was curious if the commission be open to the meeting at 3 o'clock instead of 5 and 6 on the two Wednesdays?
I just need to pull out my calendar.
Yeah. So what the recent commission was doing was the second Wednesday at 5 for a planning workshop, and the fourth Wednesday at 6 for the meeting. For me, it's very late. Just, it helps me personally.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from. We'd also discussed in previous workshops moving the meetings downstairs, but I'm not trying to tackle everything at once. But
I'm good with the time change.
I'm good with that, too.
I'm good with it as well, but we do have two people not here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if we should make a decision on this without their input.
we're going to do a contingent on maybe Scott clearing it with them, and if they object, then we revisit it. Can we do that?
Sure. I think so.
I'm not so sure we can do that. If we,
No.
because they would have to vote, and they can't
Yeah.
vote with Scott.
Well, we have a quorum.
We do.
And
we
so
can-
they could bring
I
it
hope-
back
hope it's
to
legal.
for a vote. So,
I think we should postpone it till, or at least get their input about it before. What do y'all think? It's two people.
I think I'm inclined to go with the 3 o'clock. I like the 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I do too.
If they don't like it, they can bring it up when they are present.
They can put it back on the agenda and we can
Yeah.
vote it, so.
just the, I think it was a workshop, I didn't hear any resistance, but.
Is there a conflict with hear anything with moving the meeting up to 3 o'clock?
No, sir.
Are the recording
Well, and that's
folks?
part of, so we've been talking about moving to the downstairs, and that's been part of conversations
I don't think
as
it's
well.
quite ready yet. We talked about the city council meeting.
Well, and so that's the third part of the logistics is doing away with video. The state law is we have to have audio. My thought is it has been it's helped things be more political than they should be. And I don't know, but I'm afraid it limits debate because people worry about cameras and things. For me personally, I don't have any, it's not about like not being transparent. I want everyone to come to the meeting. I like downstairs because here I feel like we're,
On stage?
yeah, we're higher than everyone.
Kind of
I'd
are.
rather be on the same level, kind of a round table type deal, and everyone right here with us. That's,
I believe the recording
So
of this
bright
would be
here.
a whole different topic,
the what?
though. The recording.
Well, that's up to
But
us. That's,
it's a different topic for the agenda.
okay, well, right,
We're talking about just the time.
logistics.
Oh, you have meeting logistics, so. I don't know if that would,
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion to move our meetings to 3 PM here at the OD on the upper stage until the rest can be discussed with the other members.
So we'll just, the 3 PM, and we won't even,
Yeah.
we won't touch the rest right now. Maybe we can talk about it in the workshop.
second.
We have a motion from David Avanzino to move our planning, well, actually, I'm going to have you restate it.
I will
So-
make a motion to move regular CAPC meetings,
And planning workshop.
planning workshops, any special meetings that are not executive sessions.
Well, no, we would call those separately.
Okay.
So I think if we could word it as motion for the planning workshop, the second Wednesday at 3 PM, and for the CAPC regular meeting, fourth Wednesday at 3 PM. That'd be real clear.
Okay. That wasn't very clear, but I'll try to figure it out.
I know what you meant.
I'll make a motion for planning meetings and regular CAPC meetings to be held at 3 PM.
Starting our next meeting.
Starting our next meeting.
Let's, we'll start our first meeting in March.
Okay,
That,
yes.
okay.
So the second meeting's a workshop, and the fourth Wednesday is a,
Yeah.
Me. Second it.
And we have a second. Okay, so the motion is from David Avanzino that the planning workshop meeting and the regular CAPC meeting both move to 3 PM.
Yes.
Otherwise, everything else stays the same.
Yeah.
And we had a second from Steve Holyfield. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Jeff Carter, Mark Hicks not here, passes 4-0. Okay. Tax reporting form. So,
In your packet, I put in the existing form. Working with Libby Johnson, who's no longer with us, she and I developed the form for our new tax remittance form. Only thing I need to do is send it to you and let you look at it and make comment. And we can start the process of allowing the businesses that collect the tax to classify what portion of the tax comes from the lodging, what portion comes from the restaurant or from catering, et cetera. So that's a start.
so are you, so do you need to get back to us? Is that what you just said?
At this point, I don't have anything else to add to that.
So do we need a motion to change our form, or is that just a procedural thing you can do? I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's part of the bylaws.
I think my understanding is that this form actually came from city council.
Oh, really?
That's, yes, because I've addressed this before, because there's, like under the portion where it says for lodging use only, when I addressed city council about this and previous CAPC commissioners, it was like that wasn't even used. And this was a form designed and developed by the city council for the CAPC to use. That was my understanding.
So I think we need to do more research.
I mean, I agree with you, the form needs to be changed.
Well, under type of
Because
business, you put, tourist.
unless it's in the actual ordinance, we're
Yeah,
not under their purview.
yeah.
So, not to cause a rift tonight, but it sounds like we need to research it.
So I will send you the form that we have ready and for you to review and make suggestions. I'll do that in the next 2
Yeah,
days.
and actually, when you look at the first line, it says Eureka Springs Municipal Code, Section 2.60, as amended.
Yeah, it says a report must be filed.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they are the ones that created this form for that report.
That's what
And
we need
that
to
I
find
don't
out.
know.
Yeah, we can find out.
So,
Okay. A question we don't have the answer to tonight, so let's move on. Website. Okay, so we've all reviewed the website. Scott and I met with, so part of this would be informational, and then if someone wants to make a motion, then we can. But Scott and I met with Paradise today. Scott shared the concerns of the commissioners that viewed it with him. I shared mine. So together we should be able to figure this out. Some of the concerns, so they will be randomizing the listings. I think everyone probably had that concern.
yep.
That has already been requested from the developer. It's just not operational yet. So that's coming. The menu, so the travel advisory piece is just there so you know that when there is a travel advisory, that'll pop up. Normally, that won't be there, okay? The menu being extra tall is because of the logo, but they're going to look at shrinking that.
Right.
But, so that's aesthetic. The big issue is there's no staff. This is really the root problem, to help them clean up so they have to pull from the old website. There's no data, no CRM, no system that they can easily figure out what's what. So they've pulled from the old website. That seems like the biggest challenge at the moment to launch, probably, I don't know, for everyone. Because we don't want businesses that are out of business, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I have a list here, and sorry,
Yeah.
my first meeting, but, I sat down and went through the website. I do not know how to develop websites, but I know what attracts me to the product or service that I'm looking for.
Uh-huh.
What they presented to us was very clunky. It was hard to navigate. There were pictures that were so out of focus you couldn't even tell what they were. There were logos in spaces where the logo didn't even fit, so you didn't know what it was. You mentioned the banner at the top, and I brought this up to Scott. If I'm looking for adventures and looking for mountain biking adventures, I want to see someone's face enjoying a mountain biking adventure, not from the chest down. I don't want to see There's a photo on that website that was presented of a woman leaning off a balcony somewhere here in downtown, and all you see are her breasts down. That, what is she doing? What are we trying to portray with this picture and this banner that's blocking a face? People want to see the joy in the face of why they're in Eureka Springs. As far as the foodies section, foodies don't care about buildings, they care about food. And I could not find a single picture of food in the foodie section. It was all storefronts. I don't know if they planned it that way, but that was a lousy representation of a foodie section. Almost every single page, when you clicked on it, it required scrolling down to actually find the information that you were looking for. There would be a big banner in the middle that had 3, I'll say, social media influencers. That doesn't, I don't think that needs to be there. I think that needs to be a drop-down menu at the top of bloggers. I mean, are we advertising for these bloggers? Are we paying for this website to advertise for them?
Yeah, I asked specifically about that. We actually purchased all of their content, so we own it. And it's I knew about one of them just my wife and I had seen them on social media, and they're pretty impactful, evidently. So they did purchase that. I think Madison had signed off on it back when. But so we own all of that content about their trips to Eureka and stuff. And so it comes across to users.
So it's just, we bought 3 social media influencers content.
Yeah.
And we're going to put them on almost a full page on our website.
So, I mean, this would be good questions for Paradise. How long, to your point, how long is it on?
And I mean,
their suggestion is that it's very compelling, that people really gravitate to those, that it helps. That's their recommendation.
So are these like one-time visits to Eureka Springs that someone wrote about?
So that was
updated content?
Yeah, that was the question. So over time, they would like to do more of those, and so then you would look for other social media influencers. They would to refresh and redo. We also talked about from the PR. We're already paying them for PR. That will be advertorials and different things out there about being able to tie those in. And that's something they want to do as well. It gets tricky, evidently, sometimes with copyright type stuff, where some of those PR deals don't necessarily want you putting, and you don't have room for the content, but there's ways to do it with that too. So there's a plan for new stuff.
I just think that with as large as it was, and for them to only be 3, they don't need a whole page for one post about Eureka Springs.
Yeah.
When we can add social influencer blogs right at the top as a drop-down and go and click on it.
So go ahead. Or you go.
I have more.
I know. I don't want to interrupt.
So, and then after that, I noticed that there were several attractions listed on the website that aren't even in Carroll County that we are promoting.
Yeah, I saw. So that comes from the old website.
Right.
Yeah.
And my question is, stakeholders are paying for this website. Those that are not stakeholders, can we charge them a fee to advertise on our page?
And I would say that's part of what we need to do in a planning workshop with the bylaws and things like that. I think that's a big question because there are people that are outside the city limits, lodging and restaurants as well, that are listed and things. And, they're just pulling, like I said, they're pulling off the website. That's something that is unclear. In the past, there's been different things. And so we need to nail that down. And that's one way to do it,
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we can do is for each stakeholder, each business in town, is let them submit their own pictures. If it's a restaurant, let them submit a photo of,
Description.
you know, a menu item. If it's lodging, let them submit a photo of the room or whatever it may be.
So part of what we talked about with them today was it's not ready. But we do have to do something soon. So, you know, we're going to have to figure out what's acceptable for the launch and have some sort of direction for them. One possible solution would be at the next, at the planning workshop, we share concerns that we have now, which we did today, and Scott can, we can get those up for sure too as well. They can tweak those. They can try to get rid of the old listings, at least we get that. And then maybe the next planning, that'd be 2 weeks, because in 2 weeks, the planning workshop, they walk us through what they've done, and then, you know, make a decision.
And this was scheduled to launch when?
21st.
21st, yeah, yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
Yeah.
Can they tweak it while
But we
it's on there?
we had to vote on it to do it, and so that wasn't going to happen.
Okay. And do they also,
They were willing to launch if the feedback was good.
okay,
Like, or, you know, what you guys looked at and talked to Scott and stuff, they were ready to go, but
but it's not active now, correct?
no.
No, it's
Okay.
not.
Can it be worked on even after it's launched? Take
Well,
pieces on and
that's,
off and
yeah, I mean,
work on it?
websites are living, breathing
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
but that's the point. What's the acceptable level to the commission to, for that to happen? And so they need to know that.
Yeah. I mean, the majority of people who come to visit us, yes, some do plan out months in advance, but others are on the fly. And going to a website that's clunky to navigate and get through, to me, it would just turn me off. I'd pick another city.
Problem is, we got a terrible website right now, so we're.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
We're going way better, just, you know.
Yeah.
And then I
mean, I'm all for the new website. There just need to be some changes.
So what do we do?
yeah, so, I mean, is there, a motion for some sort of direction for,
I mean, could they launch it tomorrow?
what's a
Just say it
minimum
was the
acceptable
21st?
level
I mean,
to launch? Is that what we're saying?
During our conversation with them, didn't I ask about how would a business owner submit the information
yeah.
to
That-
whom to
Right.
get it uploaded?
So we requested they go ahead and start working on a form. Hopefully Scott has an office coordinator soon, and that person can then, any business that's not on there or wants to tweak within limits, would go through that process to get that done. But it's maybe the fastest way with having individuals take ownership of their own. Okay, I need to tweak these details.
How soon, Scott, did they say they could launch after the changes that were presented to them?
They indicated 2 to 3 days once a submission to update. It would be 2 to 3 days, but that was for adding or modifying a business that's going to be listed on the
Well,
website.
you're asking how quick they could launch with some of the things we just talked about?
Yes. Because, I mean, I still would like to see it in the revised version. However, I understand the importance of getting it up. So launch it with some changes that were discussed apparently with you guys today, and then modify it and change it along the way.
Would it be
Or are they going to charge us every time we want to make changes after it's live.
Would it be appropriate if we give them 2 weeks to remove things and we, at the planning workshop, they show us? And,
Yeah.
I mean, we've already paid, this is more of a, yeah, I don't know.
Tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Director will pull the trigger.
I think.
But I know, I've talked to each of you and your concerns, and every one of your concerns were discussed with Paradise.
Okay.
So they know 100% what we were concerned about. They said they would make those modifications, but they also said there were some things they suggested we keep as they are, such as the travel blog. You like when you're on the main page and the first thing you scroll down, you see a group of 3 people and they're talking about their adventures here in Eureka. They were suggesting that that's the proper place for that because people tend to want to read about what they discovered while they were here, if that makes sense. That's their opinion. But, you know, Chris and I were talking about, well, how is someone going to get the information from the business to Paradise to get it uploaded? Do they go to Paradise first? Do they come to the CAPC office first, then it goes to Paradise? So there's some logistical questions that's got to be answered, and I don't have an answer for that right now.
Yeah. Personally, I think that the business should come to the CAPC, and once we have staff in place, someone that knows digital media, knows photography, knows
Right.
artwork,
Right.
then they can make their tweaks that they need to, and then send it on to Paradise and let them just put it in place.
So we're at a place where, you know, what does the commission want to do?
Right.
I think we should give discuss this and have a review of the changes that we're concerned about at the next workshop with Paradise and see what they've done. You know,
And the next workshop is in 2 weeks.
I just don't feel right launching a website that represents Eureka, and we've got businesses listed on there that are no longer in business, and that's not Paradise's fault. They're just trying to fill it and show us what they can do. They need to give us an ability to start that chain to upload a few businesses to test it they're here now and get that flow of information going.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Scott, and I base this decision on, you know, you can take a look at our social media accounts on Instagram and Facebook. Whoever's responsible, I'm assuming it's Paradise, that handles the Facebook and Instagram.
Right now, yes.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they're still, to this day, posting incorrect information. And the CAPC still consistently gets railed by our citizens and residents
Right.
because of
Yeah.
its incorrect information.
That's
So
the
the
problem.
more incorrect information we put out, the more we're going to get pushback.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean,
You're absolutely. That's going. My goal is to correct that.
Yeah,
we
That's.
have to hire staff.
yeah. Oh, no, I completely get that part of it.
I know.
So do we have any sort of motion on the website? Or we,
I make a motion that we not launch this website until it is 90% complete at least. I don't even know how to word it, but
it's tricky.
I think our next workshop should be
Centered
used
on that.
to fix this.
Yeah,
If
it's a
Yeah.
big piece.
So not be launched until our next workshop, so we all can get more input
yeah.
into it.
And review it together so that we can bounce feedback off of each other.
Right.
With Paradise. on
That
the
should
screen.
Yes, with Paradise,
Yeah, we
That's
need-
what
absolutely.
workshops are for,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay, so we'll table it to the workshop. I don't
Okay.
think we even need a motion.
Yeah, we don't need much. It's a work in progress.
Okay, staffing job descriptions. So we met with HR And job descriptions were lacking. We've got the order, okay, so this was Madison's job description, tourism director. HR was recommending that we go through these and approve them. So these are rough, consider them rough drafts. If we obviously could add to or change, you could. So the thing, I went ahead and added the auditorium because he'd pointed out that she didn't even know she was supposed to supervise the auditorium. And I think she didn't know that she might have to travel to attend trade shows and stuff when she was hired, and that was never on there. So I added those. Again, that's just to start a draft.
Can we also hold on to these till the next workshop so that we can take time to review them and add?
Problem is we can't put ads out. He can't post ads until he has approved job descriptions. So it's really holding us back on, I mean, Scott's the interim director, so,
Yeah.
and, you know.
But we have the authority to
But-
change job descriptions at any time, right?
Yeah, afterward, we can always tweak them.
Okay.
We can always do that. So then the other ones you see, the office coordinator, that's what it was. I don't know that we have to do anything to that one. Auditorium front of house was interesting. That's actually Molly's job description. And I was under the impression she was like marketing, and it's not really marketing. Now, the back one, tourism marketing manager, it's a hypothetical. I typed that one up. If at some point the commission wanted to do a marketing professional in that role. So those are things that can be talked about later, but we probably would, well, we do need to figure out, the commission needs to figure out the staffing piece for Scott. He's by himself.
Staffing what?
Well, you know, and so there we go. I mean, we have the budget, and then the previous staff was a director, finance director, wasn't even a marketing person, it was auditorium front of house coordinator.
And then the office
And
coordinator.
then the office coordinator. And they both made about the same amount of money. So there wasn't, I mean, the director, I guess, was the marketing piece, but there wasn't some marketing muscle in there.
So two questions.
What do
Scott,
you-
what is your
yeah.
immediate need?
Yeah, there you go.
Front office coordinator.
Office coordinator.
Yes.
And so we're looking at a job description that's fairly generic for an office coordinator or office manager.
Yes, sir.
I have no problem, giving my thumbs up to this so that you can go ahead and hire and get help. On the other hand, the auditorium front of house coordinator, I'm surprised that that's even a separate job.
Well, I think things were different. Now the commission has approved an auditorium director, and that job is posted. And so you're looking at those resumes. Hiring committee, we'll filter and help Scott with those. And the same with tourism director, but we'll need a approved tourism director. So that was before, they added the auditorium director. So she was kind of doing some work there. But, so then the question is, like you said, what do you need?
We're going to need someone immediately after the office coordinator position's filled to start working as a liaison between the office and Paradise on this website, because it's going to be a full-time job, just to manage that and keep it current. Because so I envision someone working in promoting the auditorium, so do we hire someone and then go out and start gathering the business that we're looking for? Or do we wait till we start having the business, then hire them to manage it? So,
Well, I think we have the money to
Right.
pay for these
It's budgeted.
positions. I do think, we need to go ahead and hire the office coordinator. This is a very generic job description. I would be cautious of giving them authority to speak with Paradise about different things.
oh, yeah, definitely.
Because that's not a typical office coordinator's job. And
Right.
they would not know what they're talking about.
This office coordinator position is going to be close, if I had to describe it, as an executive assistant position to me.
Right.
I need someone that's going to be able to take care of the communications coming from the phone and the internet, to schedule me as to where
Yep.
I'm supposed to be, because I've got a lot of meetings to attend.
Yep.
But that front office has to be manned, and somebody has to be answering that phone and taking
Yep.
care of daily business.
Yep.
And then I will train them to do preliminary book work. I'll always oversee the accounting function, but there are some things I can train and supervise to make sure the data is correct before I push enter and it's gone.
Right.
So I want to cross-train the people that we hire so that we don't get in a situation
Yeah.
that someone only knows their job and not someone else's.
Yeah.
So the cross-training is a big deal with me, always will be. So
Yeah.
my focus is for someone to be at the front on the office coordinator position, but the only authority they would have would be very limited, only if it's on an occasion, I've just got to have you do something for me.
Yeah. So I think since your immediate need is the office coordinator, and our purpose here with these job descriptions is to go ahead and approve them so that he can hire, is that correct?
Well, the office coordinator, that position's fine. It's really, we've got to get an ad posted for tourism director because of the vacancy, and even though he's an interim and then, and a candidate, we still have to post that. So we have to approve that one. And then I think what Scott was saying is he needs more staff. And so then the question is, sounded like your recommendation was a kind of a marketing assistant in addition to that office coordinator that would help with the social media piece and
Right.
some of the stuff going to Paradise
That's right.
as far as
Yeah.
some update types. I think that's what you were saying. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
So we don't have that job description,
Okay.
but we don't have that.
The tourism director,
Because there wasn't a position like that before.
on the very first job description on the job description sheets I gave you, is that the one you're wanting me to post?
What now?
Is this the job description the commission wants to post for
This is
receiving?
a potential, this was Madison's, but added the things HR pointed out, that she didn't supervise the auditorium staff.
And this is the position Scott has right now, but we need to post
Yeah.
it anyway.
Yeah, I think you have to post it for a month. I
Right.
thought, yeah.
And then the office coordinator, pretty self-explanatory.
That's already posted.
Okay.
But then, I think he was saying he needs more staff, and so that's got to be a decision by the commission if they want.
But if we're
What
looking-
position, what other positions?
If we're looking at job descriptions, we don't have those job descriptions, right?
We would have to come up with whatever
So
is
tonight,
approved.
all we can approve is these job descriptions we have in front of us.
Right.
And I personally don't like auditorium front house coordinator. It's
I
real
think that's a
vague. There's no
waste of money.
salary. Yeah. The tourism marketing manager, that seems pretty together. So
That's what?
seems like it's pretty well done.
Now,
If you all say that's a needed position.
Now, the range on that one is, I don't know what that really should be. So that's something to consider too, the range of pay.
And there is no range on the tourism director.
Correct.
Is that
Now, we...
on purpose?
Huh?
Is that on purpose?
Well, I mean, you know, that's probably another, I don't know that there has to be a range.
Okay.
But, I mean, we could put, what,
I've seen open
Scott?
salary as negotiable, or something
Yeah,
like that. Just
salary's
putting
negotiable.
something. To me, it feels strange putting a position out there with no salary, or even a discussion of salary, so. Salary negotiable based on experience and
Okay.
qualifications. That's very vague and open. Keep it out there.
So are we here to approve these job descriptions?
Partly. So like, we need an approval of the tourism director, for sure.
Okay.
And then,
So I make a
so-
motion that we approve.
but
Let's do one
part
at a
of it
time.
was informational from Scott, like, this is what I
Right.
have to try to replace someone
Yeah.
for Molly. And he's good on the office coordinator. I think that's more informational. And then the tourism marketing manager would be a proposal, an idea.
That particular job description fits in well with what I was talking about earlier, but that would be I think that would be the start of where someone would be working with Paradise and the local businesses and trying to get the websites up, and you're going to be dealing with Facebook and social media. It's just all part of that job.
Did you make a motion?
I was going to make a motion to approve the job description for tourism director.
Second.
I have a motion by David Avanzino to approve the tourism director job description, seconded by Steve Holyfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jeff Carter, Mark Hicks, not present. And
I make a motion, we accept the job description for office coordinator. as
Second.
presented.
motion's been made to accept the job description for office coordinator by Steve Holyfield, seconded by David Avanzino. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mark Hicks and Jeff Carter absent, pass 4-0.
And I make a motion, we accept the job title for tourism marketing manager as recommended by our interim director.
Can we discuss this? Can we have
Yes.
a motion to
Yeah.
discuss?
Is that okay?
Do you mind, Steve?
Or do you want to let it fail?
I withdraw my motion.
Okay.
Withdraw? Okay.
I was going to suggest, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
that range, to your point earlier, be stricken in the salary negotiable. Scott's got a salary budget,
Right.
I assume.
Yeah, and one of my comments on tourism marketing manager, under qualifications, it simply states, to perform this job successfully, an individual must be able to perform each essential duty satisfactorily. That tells me nothing. And that's not a
So-
qualification.
Yeah.
That's common sense.
So I tried to use a HR template from the city,
Mhm.
and we can tweak that to, I'm sure Scott can work with you to,
And we are going to ask that they have experience in this field? Because that's not listed here at all.
college degree or equivalent training experience in a related field are required. So this position would fall under the hiring committee as well. So
Okay.
just my experience, I like a wide net cast for jobs and then filter. And, I mean, that's where the hiring committee vets those people real well.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, though.
No, I understand what you're saying too, but You know the hospitality world.
Yes.
And there's tons of people with no degrees and lots of experience. And so
Yeah.
that's, you know,
I mean,
you can weed out,
yes.
you filter, you know, as you get your
I mean, the education, I get it to a certain degree, but absolutely we need someone with experience
Yes.
to handle social media. And, you know, it needs to be, in my opinion, someone at least from Carroll County, if not Eureka Springs proper, to handle, to know this city and know what's open, know what's closed, know what is a correct post, what is an incorrect post. Because bringing someone in from Indiana to manage social media for an entire city, I don't think is a wise choice.
Do you want to put a year experience on it?
I think for this position and everything that is required of this position, they need at least 3 to 5 years experience in social media content, collaboration, creation. And I know that's going to be difficult to find, but there are people out there.
So the change would be 3 to 5 years in experience down here on this line? Is
Yeah.
that fair? Okay.
Yeah.
Should this college degree be specified?
I
So
would-
the related, I'm sorry.
I like college degrees in a related area, because if you get, there's a lot of different degrees out there that we don't even know about that could apply to this. And
Yeah,
just,
and some people get a degree and take a completely different
Right.
career path. So,
right. But it might be applicable to this.
Yeah.
anyway, So you don't want to paint yourself too much of a corner, then not be able to fill it, you know, too, so. The requiring it to be a person from our community,
say that one more time.
if we require it to be a person from our community, I think it's a great idea, but we'll have to see.
I mean, I just think it needs to be someone.
Such a small population, though.
I know. That's why I'm saying at
Preferential, for
least
sure.
Carroll County.
I think when you're,
It'd be even better if it was from Eureka Springs, but
I think the hiring committee, I mean, that would be obviously a consideration
Yeah.
Yeah.
that they would make, you know.
To me, all these positions.
yeah, because they've
preferential.
got to know the pulse of this city. And when they're hired, they're going to be hired and expected to jump in and get to work immediately, because Scott's not going to have time to train them
Right.
on these things.
I think it's preferential, we hire local people anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, I
Do
know
we
what to
need
do.
motions? Did we make all the motions we needed to make?
The tourism marketing manager, if we're,
I move that we accept the job description of tourism marketing manager with the changes that we just made, eliminating the range and stating it will be salary negotiable and 3 to 5 years experience as a change.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion from Steve Holyfield to approve the tourism marketing manager job description, striking the salary range, inserting salary negotiable, and inserting 3 to 5 year experience under education and experience, seconded by David Avazzino. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Mark Hicks, Jeff Carter, absent, passes 4-0. Woo, my brain is on fried.
Right?
Okay, anybody? We've got tourism conference, so this is on the agenda because the mayor had recommended that commissioners go because there wasn't a director. We hired an interim director. Might be wise for the commission to formally make a motion to pay for, approve for commissioners
commissioner.
and director to go.
Yeah.
Just was my thought.
I'll make a motion to approve the registration fees, hotel fees for our sitting director and commissioners who will be attending the Arkansas Tourism Conference.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from David
This is going to be a
Avanzino
lot of homework. I want
Just go back and watch the YouTube channel.
to do that.
to approve the CAPC to pay for commissioners and director to attend for lodging and meals.
And registration fee.
And registration fee to the
And
governor's
and
conference.
you need to add
And
mileage on there,
mileage.
too.
Huh?
In mileage.
And mileage. I have a second from Steve Holyfield. All in
Okay,
favor?
Hold on a second. So, David, since it's your motion, you need to say, to my motion, I add mileage as on
Oh,
expenses.
yes. Sorry, Chris. So to that motion, add reimbursement for mileage. And I am not sure about the meals situation.
It's policy for the city to pay for
Okay.
reimbursement.
Which is the next subject.
Okay.
Okay.
And I second his change to the motion.
Okay.
So,
Okay, and I stated it. Well, I'll restate it. David Avanzino made a motion to approve commissioners and director to go to the governor's conference on tourism, paying for lodging, reimbursing for mileage, and paying for meals.
And registration.
And registration. Seconded by Steve Holyfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mark Hicks, Jeff Carter, absent. Passes 4-0. Travel policy currently,
Okay.
quickly.
I'm sorry. In your packet, I gave you a copy of the current IRS regs showing that the reimbursement mileage is listed, and I also gave you a copy of the travel form that HR director sent me that the city uses. During our last year's audit, the auditors stated that we either going to have to follow the city's policy or we adopt our own policy. And so I've given you the policy of the city, and we can tweak that to whatever our needs are, such as conforming to what are the current IRS regs. I think the city only allowed $50 a day reimbursement. And I may be wrong, but that's what my memory says. But if the city, if you come to the commission as you've done and gotten formal approval to reimburse based on the motion you made, then that covers any questions the auditors may have. So we've covered ourselves always coming forward like that. That's good. That's real good. So anyway, that addresses the travel policy. And my goal is to tweak the city's travel policy where it may be out of date and come back to the commission, and the commission can decide whether to adopt the CAPC travel policy or present it to the city and let them update theirs. That's the goal. That's it. I just wanted to make sure you had a reimbursement form before you travel.
So currently, the CAPC is paid for registration and hotels. So,
For 3 individuals.
yeah. So do we need to do something? Does the commission need to do something? In
No,
regards
what
to
I
that?
would do is attach a copy of the minutes to the reimbursement that I make,
Okay.
and that will provide the evidence needed.
Is there a motion on travel policy, or are we good?
We're good on it. You made the motion.
I'm asking.
Sounds good. So everybody's registered, and there's rooms for everybody, and
Well, I don't, Chris, are you going to be able to go?
No.
I'm not sure if Mark is going to go or not. He wanted to, but everyone else is going, which is a great turnout. I'm really looking forward to it.
so everybody who's told you wants to go has a room and everything. So
Yes, sir.
Last, if there's no motion, last item is contract signer. We currently do not have a contract signer.
And this is a position that signs all contracts?
The commissioner review, Scott?
Whenever we have a artist come and perform, or kind of like they're not employed by the city, but we're asking them to perform a service. Last year, we started the process of getting Commissioner to sign off on the contract, kind of a review process, a third eye on it. And that's what this is here. Primarily, it happens a lot during the spring and summer when we have music in the park and we have different bands performing, because as part of the contract, I've got to have the IRS documents to be able to file at the end of the year if they go over if we pay them over $600. So
Now, is this person also a negotiator for the contract?
No.
Or there's something
just a
absolutely
reviewer.
ridiculous in the
a
contract?
review process, a
Okay.
review of the work that's taken place to the
The
negotiation
commission as a
part.
whole will have to approve the contracts, and then we're just someone that signs.
Yeah, I don't
To
mind.
just kind of make sure that that was correct with the approval, right?
And we voted to
Autumn.
assign that to Autumn.
Yeah, I remember it was Autumn, and I can step up and take her spot.
I nominate David Albazino as our contract signer.
Way too quick.
Surprised it wasn't quicker.
No discussion.
We have a second.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion from Steve Holyfield
Hold it,
nominating
he can't vote for himself.
David. We don't have a
Nope,
quorum.
I sure
then, do
can't,
we?
so that means there's no
We'll have to
quorum.
wait
for
till
the
next
vote.
meeting.
We have to wait till the next meeting.
Yep.
Are you, yeah, are you okay till then?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got one, but it's not pending.
Okay. Commissioner comments? Start with David.
I always hate this part. Mardi Gras stuff around town was fantastic. I think all the crews did a great job. It was a lot of fun. We actually hosted one of the parties, and they do like to party. And I want to thank Autumn Slane for her service to this commission, and also welcome pretty much everybody's new on this commission. So that, you know, to me, I see it as a sort of a blank slate. Let's get it all right, start over if we have to, whatever area, and keep moving forward from there.
Chris?
That's pretty well said.
She said ditto.
Ditto.
Steve?
I think this is a good way to put it, a blank slate, and it's a good opportunity to start from fresh. I mean, it's a horrible situation hiring all these staff and director and everything, but since this commission has been in turmoil for a while, I think it's a good kind of restart to say, let's just start from the beginning, we'll get everybody's input as we can, and start fresh.
I like, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, didn't want to interrupt. I like what Scott had pointed out about building relationships with business leaders, encouraging us to do that as well, one-on-one talking to folks. I'm hopeful that we'll be real strategic in our planning this year, so we can really hit be hitting our stride next year for sure. But I'm just real hopeful on strategic planning and unity with everybody. So thanks for tolerating me tonight, teaching me. Sure. Anybody?
Hope I's correct.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from David Avanzino to adjourn, seconded by Steve Holyfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mark Hicks, Jeff Carter, absent, passes 4-0.
AV.
Well,